A little flashing. Now we are
Now we're recording.
recording.
Yes.
We're live.
Okay, so welcome everybody to Exercise Snacking with Russ Parker. You're attending a Parkinson's empowerment training webinar, and I want to get right to the point here because we have a lot of things to share tonight. I have a few things to share, and Russ has the remainder of the evening. Can you all see my screen? Can you see?
Yes.
Okay, good. Parkinson's regeneration training. Tonight's instructors are Russ Parker and me for a minute. So let's move forward. Next week on Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Time, we have a really good friend of ours. She's an amazing lady. Her name's Melissa Tafoya. She's a rock steady boxing coach and so much more. You do not want to miss this one. And of course, if you do, it'll be on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere. She's Russ. You know her. She's amazing. I love her.
Yeah, she rocks. She's great.
I met her in San Francisco 2.5 years ago. She came to a workshop and brought a few of her fighters with her, like 5 people from her rock steady class on Tanya, man. The girl is amazing.
Amazing
And
energy level.
then, on Wednesday, uh, I say webinar. It's supposed to say Wednesday, January 20th, 7:30, 2 weeks from tonight. I'm going to talk about the many roles of dopamine. So let's just use a quick example here. Have you ever known anybody, let's say with Parkinson's, PSP, MSA, or something basal ganglia, substantia nigra related, let's say deterioration in that part of the brain, and they're kind of not motivated and they don't really want to do anything? Well, yeah, dopamine is probably playing quite a role in that. Okay, that's just part of it, but there's a lot more to dopamine than a lot of us know about. So we'll be talking about that. Um, Quick disclaimer here: our training tonight and always is not meant to replace medications or medical care, or neurologists or doctors or the medical community. Is meant to complement them. All right. A lot of our research is evidence based. Not all of it is. You got to think outside the box sometimes. Be sensible when you do that, But if all of a sudden we found out today, for example, that exercise is good for you, does it mean it wasn't good for you yesterday? Of course not. So we want to be sensible, but also think outside the box. And sometimes we have to do our own research. All right. Safety first. Always have yourself, your clients, patients do what they can, not what they can't. Push them, don't kill them. I have a book out. This is it. All right, thepdbook.com, or just go to Amazon. It's available in English and Spanish. It's available in English and on Kindle, paperback, and on Audible and iTunes. The audiobook format is really nice. My friend Scott Hoke did the audio, and he's a professional. If anyone's a car buff like me and you watch the Meekum auto auctions, he's the voice you hear. He's also a fellow musician, bass player, and all that. But anyways, the book is available at thepdbook.com, which goes to my website. You can buy it there. It's the same exact prices on Amazon. A new book is coming out, and I'm very, very, very honored to have Laura, who is with us tonight. Laura has done the cover art. We have to put it into form here with the 8.5 by 5.5 format, same size as the other book, dimension-wise. This is going to go on the front cover. Now, you don't see the whole painting there. This is an image of the brain. There's a word hope in this too, which for some reason this didn't capture it. But Laura has, and this will go probably on the back cover. And, we look at this book is going to go deeper into a lot of things like neuroplasticity and how you can optimize it. You can choose neuroplasticity. You don't just do stuff and allow it to happen. You can choose it to happen. Again, the book will be about half the length, half the price, and available in Kindle and paperback first, audio later. We also have an online institute here. This is now on the Teachable platform, prtonline.org. We have monthly, semi-annual, or annual options. You can cancel at any time. My suggestion, buy a month. If you don't like it, cancel. Buy a month. If you like it, maybe upgrade so that you get a lower price, or just go monthly. Either way is cool, but it's always growing, always expanding. I have about 40 videos ready to upload this weekend. All right, our next workshop, which we're charging less than, well, not even half the price. So when we go out live on the road, like $400 or whatever, and I'm not about the money because none of it goes to me. It all goes to a foundation. This foundation is donated to people all over Mexico. We've made donations to people in the USA, Poland, Uganda, and we're working on some other areas too. And these are recurring donations that happen every month. So any registration fee goes to the Parkinson's Global Project nonprofit foundation, and we help people who really need it really badly. Okay, even before COVID, a lot of people are in terrible economic distress. They can't get their medications, they can't get therapies. We help them. Next workshop though is going to be January 16th and 17th. So it's less than 2 weeks away. It's a week from this weekend, 10 to 5 on Saturday, all Eastern time, 10 to 3 on Sunday, $159 donation. You can just go to parkinsonregenerationtraining.com and you can look there. By the way, if you go there and it says a price higher than $159, don't panic. Go back because I may have made a typo and because I was thinking of something else. So tonight I'll make sure that the price is right in there. Okay. So before we get started with Russ, I want you to think about your brain for a minute. We've talked about this before. We'll talk about it again. Things that you can do to activate brain activity and to really stimulate the most and increase the brain activity for a more enhanced learning experience would be a combination of any or all of these if possible. Movement, move barefoot, move to music, do it outside, do it with another person. This comes direct from John Rady, who's the author of several best-selling books, including Spark and Go Wild. He's become a friend, not that that matters, but I've interviewed him. He's on, if you go to Carl Sterling, carlthek.net, you can find his interview out of 132 interviews right now on that channel with experts. He's near the top. Okay, so that comes right from him. The things you can do for your immune system, your visual stimulation, which, by the way, if you didn't know, the eyes are not just connected to the brain, they are the brain. They're part of it. Other things, neuroplasticity. This is the brain's ability to reorganize and create new neural pathways to adapt as it needs to. This is cool stuff. Okay. But instead of just doing stuff and like hoping that our brain makes connections that are new neural pathways, okay, we can self-direct this. If I was to say, like, your attention can be directed. For example, if I was to say right now, and I guarantee you're not thinking about this, how do your feet feel connected to your shoe, your sneaker, your slipper, or your floor right now? Oh, well, you had the sensation coming in subconsciously. Okay. This is not so much neuroplasticity as it is a brain thing. It's called attention. Well, we can self-direct our attention. So now that I mentioned, maybe how does your butt feel on the chair? Well, I don't like this chair, so it doesn't feel that good, but I feel it. But until I got to this slide, I wasn't thinking about how my butt felt on the chair, and I wasn't thinking about how my own feet felt connected to the floor through compression socks that I wear so I don't get blood clots, because I tend to get blood clots. So we can maximize neuroplasticity potential at any age. Even John Rady says, and Dr. Sanjay Gupta in his brand new book, which I just showed the cover of, I'm going to show again. This is a really, really, really good book. It came out yesterday. I'm halfway through it as of today. It's called Keep Sharp. Sanjay Gupta. If you watch CNN, you've probably seen him. It's a really good book. I highly recommend it. It's one of the best ones I've ever read. So we can choose to direct the changes that happen in our brain. It happens in a two-step process. Okay, how we age does play a role. Okay, I have a granddaughter who's 2 months and 4 days old right now, beautiful Nora. She is in a highly plastic state because she's so young, right? And the brain is so moldable when you're so young. So between 0 and 25 years old is the most neuroplastic time in our life. Why am I saying all this? I want you to get the most out of tonight. So one of the ways to do that is focus. Focus. Now we're going to go through a lot of stuff tonight, so you're not going to be able to go at your own pace, but you're all going to get a follow-up email with the slideshow and a link to the YouTube video. You can go through and you can focus in little chunks. Chunk it. Do a minute, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Focus, focus, focus. Don't let anything else interrupt you. Learn it, learn it, learn it. Okay? Short bouts of extreme focus and deliberate effort are going to be the first step. This is going to vary from person to person, what they are able to focus, how long they're able to focus. But bottom line, step number 1, focus. So tonight, do your best to focus. Step 2, or step 1, continue, is when you focus, you may feel some strain or discomfort during this effort of focusing. That's because during focused effort, acetylcholine is released at the synapses involved of what is being learned. So you got all these synapses happening as you're learning stuff. Guess what? As you're learning this stuff, boom, acetylcholine is being released. It marks those neurons for strengthening. The strengthening happens, when you sleep or when you rest. But if you can attach a reward to this, like, this strain, Carl keeps talking and he won't shut up, and this is Russ's night, but he's saying stuff that's important, and Russ is going to talk for an hour, and it's going to be, well, guess what? Attach like a reward to it. This is me getting better. You can't get it all in one night. I can't get it all in one night. It's taken years, and I'm still learning every day. This is going to help you. Step 2 is the strengthening and the connection of the neural pathways and the new neurons and the neural circuits develop when you're in a sleep-like state. Sleep is the best. Deep sleep is the best of the best. But even like if you're just sitting and not thinking of anything, if it's possible for you, great. Meditation, another thing, right? This is when the strengthening happens. This is when the neural pathways are developed, the circuits are formed, and they're strengthened during this sleep. It is 7:45. So this brings me to the next slide, and I'm out, man. I mean, I'll be here. You may see me disappear off the camera, but I'm here. And I forgot to mention, if you have some tools around you could use tonight, I didn't get to send out the email because I couldn't figure out how to do it. Russ can mention what he would like to use, but I would like to get into this next thing the rest of the evening here before Q&A at the end. Russ Parker is our guest. He's mi hermano de otra madre en español. That's brother for another mother. He's been teaching for, 3 years? Going on.
Yeah, I started with you in, like the beginning of 2018, I think, yeah.
At least then, maybe even, I think it's maybe before, but bottom line is I'm so glad you're with us. You offer so much to people, and people are really looking forward to hearing you tonight. So Russ, it is yours. Let's round of applause. We won't be able to hear you, but I'm saying welcome, Russ Parker.
Thanks, Carl.
Take it away.
It's a pleasure to work with Carl, and we've done a lot of workshops together, and I just enjoy the sharing with the Parkinson's community and trainers that work and physical therapists that work in that field, and I learn so much from everybody else too. So Carl mentioned some things. We're going to talk about doing exercise, making exercise more convenient, and part of that is if you don't have equipment, how you could use things around the house and stuff like that. So let me mention those things right now. So while I'm talking, if you have any of these things, you could just grab them. So if you have a beach towel or a small blanket, bottles or food cans, like a 16-ounce bottle, or like a can of soup or beans or whatever. I also do stuff with a liter bottle filled like 3/4 with water. We're going to be doing things with balls. So if you have a tennis ball around or any kind of ball, and I guess everything else we could probably improvise on. Like we might be doing some stuff stepping over a line. So if you have like a strap or a rope or a piece of something to step over, that's okay. But you don't have to have that, because you could just imagine the lines there.
Quick question, Russ.
Yeah.
Are you able to control the screen?
Oh, good point. Let's see.
Can you advance forward slides?
No, I'm not. Do I have to respond? Did you invite me to share?
I did, but let's do it again. You should be able to now.
Click to start remote control of the shared screen.
I think you got it.
I think I'm good now.
Now, if you need to stop sharing the screen and make yourself big, we'll want to make sure we can see you when you demonstrate things. So,
okay.
I'm running out for 1 second, but I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Let me just see if I can change the screen.
Yeah, you got it. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
okay.
I'll be
Okay,
right back.
so exercise snacking. Just another little bit more about myself. I'm a certified personal trainer, and I was diagnosed with Parkinson's in early 2016. So I'm just about at my 5-year anniversary since diagnosis. I met Carl in 2017. We went together to a conference for National Academy of Sports Medicine, and then he asked me to get involved with his program, and it's been a blast. And I consider myself a neuromotor training specialist, and I've worked with a bunch of clients as a personal trainer. Right now, I'm doing a little bit more coaching, fitness coaching, than training, and I'm referring people want personal training. I'm referring out to like a lot of other folks. So that's basically my background. Those acronyms up there: CES is Corrective Exercise Specialist, SFS Senior Fitness Specialist, and PES Performance Enhancement Specialist. That's sports performance. So let me get going here. Next slide. Okay, so exercise. Sometimes people have trouble getting started on exercise, or even if they're regular exercise, finding enough time to get exercise in. And I list here some of those barriers, and I call them perceived barriers because there's ways around it. So one of them is lack of education and guidance, just basically what exercise to do, how to put together an exercise program, that type of thing. Not enough time. A lot of people who respond, when you ask them, why don't you find time to exercise, and they say they don't have enough time. It's really not that they don't have enough time. It's that they're spending time. They'd rather be spending time doing a lot of other things. Like how much time do you spend, on social media and just surfing the internet and things like that? And there's probably a lot of times where you could fit in exercise, and you just haven't thought of it. Too tired and not feeling well, of course that's understandable sometimes, but you get hit this vicious cycle if you don't start moving some. It's just gonna make you more tired. And Carl had mentioned getting good sleep and all those type of things. Not convenient, because you have other things going on or whatever. Limited access to equipment, so you may not be able to get to a gym where you not own equipment. Limited access to fitness professionals like trainers or physical therapists and programs. Conflicts with other commitments, that's similar to not convenient or whatever, but you might have a lot of other things going on, and that just might hamper you as far as getting going. You just say, I got too much on my plate. And motivation, of course, is another factor. So there's a technique called exercise snacking. I didn't make the term up myself. I read it first in an article in the New York Times. And so it can be used to simplify the task of performing daily exercise and help overcome barriers. So what is exercise snacking? Well, it's not this. I actually gave this presentation once at the Y on what they call Senior Day, where people go around to like a lot of different presentations at different rooms and buildings on the Y campus at Huntington, where I work. And my boss told me when she saw the title of this presentation, she said, they serve food a lot at a lot of these presentations. So she said, I hope people aren't coming just expecting to get food because of the title. So you might want to consider changing the title next time or something. But anyway, they came and they got a lot out of it, and they weren't expecting snacks, and I actually got a new client out of that presentation. So what is exercise snacking? So really, it's just getting in short bouts of exercise. Some people are, have it in their mind when they get involved with exercise, it has to be a 30-minute, 1-hour workout of a fixed set of exercises, and you have to get them all in. in one workout to gain benefit. But there's ways to still do short amounts of exercise, and you'll still see the benefit. Obviously, if you're doing something like cardio, you want to be doing that for 20, 30, 40 minutes. That's one special case. But you could get a lot of benefits by even just doing a couple of exercises before breakfast, for instance, and you'll see just as much improvement doing it, in a small piece as you would as part of a workout. So I'll also be talking about how you could do exercise with little or no equipment, using objects and structures at your disposal, things around the house or wherever you're at home, different scenarios, like whether you're at home, on the go, on vacation, or even if you make it to the gym. This presentation isn't just for people who are looking to start exercise or beginners. Even if you're advanced exercises, sometimes you hit those moments where you can't get a full workout in. And you might even be at the gym. So there, some shortcuts on, maybe on how you could just do a few exercises and still have, what you consider a productive day, as opposed to saying, you have to leave the gym and you can't get your full workout in, so you're not going to do anything. Functional movements. I'm going to talk about, just doing movements that are not standard, exercises that you would do, in the gym or anything like that. Just like, for instance, I'm going to mention, getting up and down from a chair. So that's why I say easy to understand. When you learn an exercise, a lot of times you have to, and if you're working with a trainer or you're watching a video, they'll tell you, you extending your arm and doing this, doing that, and they're like cueing you to move different limbs and that type of thing, as opposed to if an exercise is called getting up and down from a chair. Well, the only instruction, I'm telling you is get up and down from the chair. Maybe some tips, on how to do it better, but and then creativity and fun is all part of it too. Once you get in this mode where you're, constantly thinking about moving differently during the day and incorporating exercise into your day, you'll come up with ideas, and a lot of times, you can make things fun. And this is going to apply to all, the aspects of fitness, whether it's cardio, balance, flexibility, mobility, strength, agility, power, doing more, and we'll talk a little bit about doing multitasking and cognitive training too. On this presentation, as we go through the slides, we'll start hitting some things with examples. So some of them I'll hit a few of the things on the slide. Later in the presentation, there's just like a whole list of examples. So maybe later on we'll do more exercise consolidated when we start talking about I'm going to get down to like a list of exercises, but in the beginning here, I might just do a few examples interspersed so we start getting some exercise in. So here's using what's at your disposal. So you could use chairs to help to assist you in a workout, or as part of the workout, like you could squat and hit your butt down on the chair as a target. You could go around the chair. I'll talk about examples with that. There's things you could use the wall for. You could use it for a modified push-up, pushing up off a wall. But body weight is always at your disposal. So there's so many exercises that you could do with body weight. The two most popular ones, that old school exercises are push-ups, which push-ups is a great exercise. Core exercises like sit-ups and crunches and things like that. I'm not a big sit-up or crunch guy. There's other exercises that I think are better that I'll talk about. You could use tape, rope, or canvas strap, anything you can make a line out of. Balls, you could use balls for different agility drills and eye-hand coordination. Paper and plastic plates. What you could use those for is when you have a surface that's like a carpet, you could actually put your feet on the plates and you could slide. You could do something like a mountain climber and do different exercises. You could do the same thing with a small towel. Since I'm working on wood floor here, I'll just show you, how I could use a towel which slides on the floor, do an exercise. Now I only have one towel. I could do exercises with two, but I could use it to slide back into a lunge. I could go to the side, and I'm working both my adductors and abductors, muscles that push out to the side and pull in. And then you can do something like a mountain climber, putting both feet, and you get down on the towels. And like I said, you can do this with, if you're on a carpet, then you can use like plastic plates or paper plate. So we'll do some stuff together. I was just demonstrating that one. Oh, how do I get the presentation back up now? I'm big.
I chose to make you big just so people could see you better.
Okay.
Okay, let's share the screen, and here we go. There you go.
Okay.
And make sure you have a control still.
Bottles and cans.
There you go.
I have some cans of beans here, or soup, or whatever. There's a lot of exercise you could do that'll work fine with just really light weights. So this doesn't weigh much, but I'll actually show you some exercises that even for a person who's advanced, even just there's things you could just do with light weights that don't require heavy weights. I use a bottle like this, filled up about 3/4 of the way, a 1 liter bottle with water, and there's stuff you could do, that shaking in and things. We'll go over that. Anything else I didn't mention? Okay, now next slide.
Is that working for you? There you go. Okay.
So there's backpack you could use. You could use different types of bags and puts weight inside of it. This is good for, like, if you're on vacation, you have a backpack. You can just put, once I was traveling and I did some exercise with my backpack, and I put the iron that was in the hotel room, and I put a bunch of bottles. I just, everything with the kitchen sink I put in there for some weight. And you could just take, I'll demonstrate this. You could just take the bag, fill it with weight, and you could do something like a swing, if people know what a kettlebell swing is. You could do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in transit, actually, this is something like if you're using a backpack or a suitcase or something like that, you can do something called a suitcase carrying. This is good for your core, where basically you're just walking, holding it with one hand, and trying not to tilt. Try not to tilt this way. Try to stay straight, and then you're working your core. That's a way you could use a suitcase or a backpack.
Nice.
That's one that I used to do when I commuted. When I was walking to the subway, I had a pretty heavy backpack. I had my laptop in it, a bunch of other stuff, and I carried with one hand for about 20 steps, and then switch hands. So there's things you could do on the go, and you could do around the house. So you could apply these concepts to all different scenarios. I got on this slide already. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I call this section, yes, that's an exercise. So this is where we talk about fitting exercise into your daily tasks, make them part of your daily tasks, or just in your schedule, just fitting in things on your daily schedule. So one thing you could do, you can make any activity maybe a little bit more challenging. You could use your imagination. So one thing I do, this isn't a strenuous exercise, it's more of a focus kind of thing that Carl was talking about, was I make emptying the dishwasher and putting away all the different items a focus task. So I intentionally focus on precisely taking each glass or plate or utensil and putting in its spot, and doing it relatively rapidly, not so fast I'm gonna like break a glass or something. But that's like a focused movement. And then if you get in the habit of doing a bunch of things like that with the focused movement, you become more body aware, and you start learning how to control your body and brain and make it more efficient. This one's a little crazy. Good thing about some of the crazy things is a lot of them you could do at home, so nobody's going to see you. But when you're actually shampooing in the shower, that's an opportunity to do some good manual dexterity exercises. So you could do all different patterns on your head, circles, opposing circles, back and forth, and that's an exercise. The next, brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. That's a good one. I've been doing that. I've been staying with that, and I've been actually getting better. I can't say I could brush my teeth as well with my non-dominant hand, but definitely better. If you're, a person with Parkinson's, and you can't use a toothbrush even with your dominant hand that well, or and you normally use an electric toothbrush. What I did when I was having some problems, I used the electric toothbrush, but then I still used the manual one to practice. So, I don't want, if you have trouble just doing the manual one, I'm not saying replace your, electric toothbrush, just do both. I want you to have good hygiene. So watching TV or doing anything from the floor, this is actually a great exercise, sitting on the floor. So if you're watching TV or hanging out with friends, try to sit on the floor. Even if you don't have trouble getting up from the floor, the reason it's good is because it helps you practice getting up and down from the floor. But even if you're not, having trouble getting up and down the floor, there's different ways you could get up to make it difficult. You could, there's that move where you get up with no hands, or you could use one hand to help yourself up. So even people who exercise a lot, that's not so easy, just getting up from the floor with no hands. When I was that conference I was telling you about that I met Carl at, they do a lot of presentations where they're ballrooms and there aren't many chairs there, and they're doing a combination of lecture and hands-on activities. So a lot of times you sit on the floor. And so I was at that conference for however many days it was, and there was a lot of sitting on the floor and getting up. And I just from those 4 days, when I got home, I realized it was easier getting up and down from the floor. I had gained some strength there and a skill because I was doing it all the time. So repetition, if you do just one thing, but you do it repetitively, every day, you could restore some skills. That's what I was talking about, how, sometimes just doing one or two things, you don't have to have a whole workout, I have different things I do. I have some set workouts. I also have a list of things that I can't do that I want to work on. And most of those I will just work on individually. So with Parkinson's, I couldn't do jumping jacks. So I'll demonstrate what I look like. Well, this is, what jumping jacks are, like this, right? So this was my jumping jack. It was my feet were glued to the floor because I had some freezing problems and heavy legs and things like that. So I was and I could barely do a jumping jack. So what I did to get it back, and it only took me maybe about a week, is I did a combination of modified jumping jacks and then kept trying to do the real ones. So first day, modified jumping jacks are like this, just stepping to the side. No, I'll move back a little bit. See? So I did however many of those. I did 10 of those, and let's say I could do one good jumping jack. So then I just kept progressing, and then I got to the point maybe where I could do, 8 modified jumping jacks and 2 regular jumping jacks. So this was an exercise task that I had that I just fit in whenever. Okay, I'm going to do my jumping jacks, and that's like a minute worth of work. But meanwhile, that was a major skill that I restored, and it only took a matter of days.
Yeah, cool.
I was up to 20 jumping jacks within a week. Once I was able to do a certain amount, 8 good ones or whatever, then all of a sudden it just started accelerating, because then I had my brain knew how to do it, and it was just a matter of, doing more.
That's good.
So rolling, hey, if you have grandkids or kids, they're always on the floor. Get down on the floor, roll around with them, have fun. Getting up from a chair off the ground, I talked about that when I was talking about watching TV from the floor. But getting up from a chair, same thing. That's something you could work on as well. A lot of time, like I said, with the jumping jacks. If you have trouble getting up from a chair, you could do modified by raising the level of the chair up, sit up and down from a higher platform. Do some of those and then do from the regular height and keep working on it. During the course of the day, what you could also do is, if you tend to sit down and stay seated for a while, set a timer and get up. Make sure you, if you want to get something, that you're not always, because you're tired and your legs are heavy, you're not always asking your spouse or your kids or whoever or your friend to get things for you. Try to make the effort to do the extra movement. Dance and rhythmic movements. Dancing, if you like dancing, you just do freestyle, put on music and dance. If you're not really into dancing that much, most people are into music. There's still rhythmic movement, which is very powerful, which is basically just exercising to the beat of the music, whether it's boxing or doing shuffles back and forth, side to side, walking to rhythm. So that's all great. And you could do that anytime. Just put on some music and move. Play, you could play all different things. Like I said, if you have small kids, grandchildren, even playing patty cake is good for your brain, or any kind of patterns you do with your hands. Playful wrestling, we learned this from Jackie, right? Jackie Wu.
Yeah.
She showed us.
I don't know.
Hmm?
Yeah, I think so. As a matter of fact, it's been a while, but yes.
Yeah, we were talking about like fall prevention.
Yeah.
And she was doing this thing with Andrew, where they were just kind of like doing play wrestling, just very gently, just grabbing onto each other and kind of just like pushing. And this is great for people like with Parkinson's. It's like it's fall prevention, because you're trying to like push yourself off balance, and you don't want to be safe with it too.
I remember that, Russ. That is actually, they did that for us in a workshop on Zoom last fall, didn't they?
Yeah.
She and Victor and Andy, and they were pushing, and actually have a video of that. So a little more shameless self-promotion, but it's not about me. The workshop that we're going to have in a week and a half is full of interactive, it's 7 hours on Saturday and 5 on Sunday, and we don't take breaks. If you need to take a break, go ahead, but you're going to get a recording of all of it. So that video of Jackie is going up on the Institute website, but also we'll be doing, I have a little similar thing planned out for that weekend, a week and a half from now. So don't forget to think about that, folks. $159. And but yeah, that was really cool, because it really challenges balance. It uses a lot of core musculature. It's and it's fun. That's the other thing. Gamify.
Yeah. Fun, gamify, yeah. Somebody's asking about the items. If you have any of these, if you don't, we could simulate using the items. If you have a couple of cans of food, use a 16-ounce water bottles, or if you have a 1 liter bottle that's empty, that you could fill up 3/4 with water. We're gonna shake that, do some stuff with that. If you have a tennis ball, a small blanket, or a beach towel, that's about. And if you have like a ball, like a tennis ball or something, that's it. There'll be some other things that you may not have, but I'll just demonstrate those, and you could try them at home. Cool. I got to get the presentation back up.
Let me get that back for you now. Okay, so
I haven't actually got anybody involved yet. Let me just see what's the remainder of this slide here. Okay. Just demonstrating stuff. I want to do something together. Let's just finish this. Let me see if I'm gonna go backwards for a second just to make sure I didn't.
Sure.
Oh, do I have control of the screen?
Yeah, you should.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, that's an exercise. Okay, yeah, so I was on play. Even things like juggling or drumming, rock skipping I put in here. I was out with Donna a couple weeks ago at the beach, and I guess that's something you don't lose sometimes. I haven't skipped rocks in so long. That was great. That was a great little like agility exercise. But a big part of it is not just the actual physical exercise you get out of it, it's the enjoyment too. That's really you help your brain, you're going to help yourself move as well. So that was fun. The other thing is just sports. If you have like your favorite sport, so just shooting baskets or hitting a tennis ball against the wall or with someone else. This is exercise snacking, so we're talking about short bouts. So I mean, you could shoot baskets for like 5 or 10 minutes, and that's good. And any kind of other exercise movements. I do. I'm a runner, but I also do track meets, and I got into throwing the javelin. So that's something
cool.
I do sometimes. I have a little. It's a plastic one for at home because I don't want to be throwing a javelin in my backyard. But I do that. So there's all sorts of crazy things you can do.
So Tammy and I just started doing at dinner. And I've always been known as a very slow eater. I'm the last one done at any table. But I still feel like I eat too fast. So we started doing non-dominant hands, which for both of us is our left hand, eating left-handed, and I'm getting pretty good at it. So
yeah,
I'm going to figure out how to challenge myself more. But the shampooing thing and the brushing of the teeth, I have an electric I just got for Christmas. Never had one in my life, but I still use a manual also. So it's really cool. It changes how you do things. And just for fun, folks, remember one of the most interesting cognitive type of experiences I ever had, which was also coordination, is I was in Ireland. I think Irene Tracy was going to be on this tonight as a guest. So Irene, if you're here, welcome. I haven't talked to you in so long. We should catch up sometime. But she had organized these beautiful series of events in Ireland, and we were on our way back from Waterford to Dublin. About halfway, she got I think a migraine. Says, if you don't drive, we're not going anywhere. Well, in Ireland, they drive on the other side of the road, and the other side of the car, on the other side of the road. And she's got this car that, I'm in the passenger seat, what feels like passenger for me, with a steering wheel and a left-hand 5-speed manual transmission. Now that, combined with getting in the correct lane on the highway, and then when we got to the city, turning in the correct lanes at the lights, oh my gosh, but it was a very good exercise. But you can just brush your teeth with the other hand too, and that's good too.
All these things I've been talking about, again, I just want to reiterate the point that, we had talked about the barriers to exercise. So a lot of these things will just get you moving and used to moving. And hopefully you'll think about, making it fun. And then once you're moving more and maybe feeling a little better, you get into some more traditional exercise and that type of thing. Onward and upward. So here's something unique.
Oh, I'm sorry. I might have just did that by accident.
Okay. Seatbelt bridge. I learned this from a fellow named Kelly Starrett. Some of you people who follow fitness people might know Kelly. He's a physical therapist, but actually he's a CrossFit guy. And some of his techniques are cool. Some of them maybe are a little radical. But basically what you do is on the airplane, you loosen your seatbelt. So when you pull it up, there's maybe a few inches space, and you bridge up. So I'll demonstrate. You bridge up against the seatbelt. The seatbelt's here, and you bridge up and you push against the seatbelt, and you hold it, and it works your glutes. Pretty cool. I've done that.
That is cool.
So, and here's these are all things that are on the go. So there's a suitcase carry that I mentioned. seated chin tuck. So a chin tuck is, people with Parkinson's need to be mindful of their posture because, you get this forward head and leaning forward and that type of thing. So a chin tuck is basically when you take your neck and you kind of tuck your chin in like this, kind of push it back, like a pigeon goes on the backwards motion though. So you're aligned with your spine. And what you can do when you're on the go is if you're in a car or on a plane that has a headrest, you could actually strengthen those muscles too with a little resistance by pushing back against the headrest, holding and repeating. So I do that in the car sometimes because the headrest seems to position itself so I can make contact with it and do that while I'm driving. So on the go again, another thing you could do is, these are like eye exercises, but you could do sign reading as the car is traveling. You could look at small like street signs, try to look ahead. This like helps expand your field of vision and train your eyes well. But you just try to keep your head straight ahead and look off to the side and try to read this street sign as you're passing it. And there's other vestibular exercises, which are really kind of like eye exercises. You could look them up. There's a company called Z Health that has a lot of examples of eye tracking type things. And so those are things you could do anywhere, sitting around. Do exercises. So there's things you could do while you're standing in line. You could maybe do like a little stretch, or just, if you're just hanging out, standing, and social engagements. And when you travel, think of opportunities to do exercise. If there's fun activities, try to join in. There might be things going on where they're playing games or opportunities to use your brain. There might be a trivia contest or something like that. Just get engaged with those type of fun things, and it's a way of keeping your brain and your body moving while you're socializing with your friends or on vacation. And here we talk about focused movement and mindful movement. I had mentioned the thing about being mindful about putting the dishes away. Also, you could focus on your handwriting skills. Some people have small handwriting and that type of thing. Posture. When you're just standing, that's one thing you work. You're standing in line. Work on your posture. Make sure you get your shoulders back, bow your chest out, and jut that head back. So that's an exercise you could practice while standing in line. Moving differently. Just think of creative ways to move differently, or take something that you would an implement that you normally use for doing things around the house, like a tool or something like that, and use it in an exercise. A good one is Sledgehammer Workouts. Those are great. You can do so many things with a sledgehammer. You circle around your head, you slam it down like you're chopping like with an axe, but on you're heading down on either like a piece of wood or a stump or something like that, or something. In the gym they do it on a tire. If you happen to have a tire or a rubber tire or something like that. And this last one here: avoid asking for help on physically challenging tasks and focusing on improving instead. That's something that I've been working on lately, because as active as you get, this is for the people with Parkinson's or other conditions. As active as you get, it just wears on you. And sometimes you just get lazy and you're sitting down, and you say something like, "Oh, I have to, get such and such." Like you're sitting down at a meal and you wanted to pick up, you needed to go back to the refrigerator to get a condiment, and then next thing you know, your spouse or your child or someone says, "Oh, I'll get it for you," because you look like you don't want to move, and you let them. So I just like to say that if you start being more cognizant of that and just try and overcome that, just a little bit of effort that you need just to get up, just get up and do it yourself. I have a good example of this. and you'll benefit from it, but also your family and friends will benefit from it too, because you're not burdening them all the time. They're doing things for you. But the other day, I took some olive oil out. It was early in the morning. I'm up before everybody else, and I dropped the bottle on the floor. So olive oil now was on the kitchen floor. What a mess! Oil, it's like if it was something that wiped up easy. Now I had to deal with oil, and sometimes if I do something like that and people are up, people will come help me and everything. And it was so like, I looked at it and I was so like disgusted, and I was like, if somebody, I said, oh shit or whatever, and I figured if somebody heard me, they might come and help. But I said to myself, that's going to be a lot. I'm going to have to wipe it up first, then I'm going to have to, it's oil, so I'm going to have to get like some Dawn detergent and wipe it and everything. And then I kind of turned my thoughts around and said, I'm going to have to get up and down a lot, or because I have to wet the paper towels. I was using paper towels, use a lot of paper towels. So then I kind of changed my attitude, and I was like, I could do this. And it was early in the morning. My medication wasn't even in effect. And I got up and down, got a lot of paper towels. I was on the floor, which was hard when my medication hadn't kicked in. But at the end of it, I was proud of myself because I was just getting up and down. And that was actually like a workout. So if there's things that are, challenging, that's, I know it's hard, but that's a good opportunity for you to make your body adapt to getting back to being more functional and being able to perform your daily tasks.
Russ, do you mind if I chime in 1 second?
Sure.
So, I can't say for sure, obviously, for everybody, nor can I say for sure every time anyone doesn't feel like doing anything, especially someone with Parkinson's, MSA, PSP, but there's a really good chance that the lack of dopamine is playing a role, because dopamine is more than just a neurotransmitter. This book here is basically what my presentation in 2 weeks is going to be about. It's called The Molecule of More, written by David Eagleman, I think. Yeah, no, David Lieberman. The Molecule of More, which I learned about through another great guy, Dr. Andrew Huberman from Stanford. They talk a lot in this, and in other, research too, about how this lack of dopamine, the dopamine is a driver. If you want to go get a coffee like I did an hour ago, I got up and I went down and I got my coffee brewing, and my coffee fairy brought it up for me, but I would have gone back down to get it because dopamine is a driver that will get you to go do the thing. And so, not to go off too much on this, but for example, when it comes to exercise, I don't ever feel like it. That's kind of a well-known fact about me. I don't ever want to exercise. Oops, sorry. Except for riding my bike. I like to do that a lot. And I'll go look forward to that. But other stuff, nah. But I have to do it. And the act of getting started doing it actually creates some dopamine. So then once you get started, you might get the energy to keep going. And what you do that I love is that you change your thought process around it. You thought, well, wait, how can I make this like a challenge, and this is actually good for me? You're actually essentially attaching reward to the strain of doing it. And that is one of the keys of success in anything. I still want to get a master's degree and a PhD. And, I have to attach reward to the damn effort I got to do all this stuff. And it's not always easy, but I know it's me getting better. It's me working towards something. Now, dopamine will get you to the thing. And once you got the thing, dopamine is done with its job. Anyone ever been on a journey where it's like, oh man, when I get this, when I achieve this, that's it. I will have arrived, until you get there and you realize, oh, well, the journey was more of a thing than the getting of the thing. So I'm going a little off, and I'm sorry because this is about you tonight, but I want to interject that the lack of motivation is oftentimes a lack of dopamine. Starting the task, whatever it is. For me, it could be my taxes, it could be my homework, it could be my next book, gets me creating chemicals in the brain so that I get the energy to keep going. So as I used to say all the time, but I didn't back it up with anything substantive, now I can just get started, and you get the energy to do the thing, do whatever the thing is. You get the energy to keep going usually, and try to attach that reward to it, attach the sense of me getting better. You know, we're humans, we can do this. My beautiful dog never thinks about getting better. She likes to lay in the chair and then lay next to me while I'm having COVID, and I love her dearly, but she never sets goals. But we can, we're human.
Okay. Thanks. I see there's a question. Peter, could we say that benefits of things like non-dominant hand activity is good for everyone?
Oops, sorry.
Sure is. I have an eye tracking exercise after a movie, finding the name Aaron in the film credits. Sometimes it moves fast. Oh, so yeah, I see. You have to look for name you're looking for the names in the film credits. Okay, cool. Let me go on. You know, I want to try to get some exercise in. I created a lot of slides here that describe things. Oh, I have a quote that I made up just on this topic that I was talking about. If something is challenging, that's no excuse for not doing it. And if your answer is I can't, challenge yourself to get to I can. So that's just a call to arms there, just to try to push yourself, you know, that you could do it. You can. I put on a separate slide that walking and doing balancing and stairs are all like 3 great exercises that you should just try to do a lot of. And I'm not going to talk about it much. You could just, the stuff's listed here. You could practice walking forward and backwards, slowly, mindfully, lateral movements in all different patterns. If you have the opportunity to use stairs, do that as much as you can. It's great for strength, leg and strength endurance. And incorporate balance into your daily activities during the day. There's so many things you could do. You're just standing around and you could just balance on one foot or something.
Russ, do you
So let's
mind
get
if people get this slideshow I want to send out afterwards? Are you cool with that?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so just so people know, if we race through stuff, because I know we want to get to movement soon, you'll get all this anyways. So you got the video, a link to the video, and you're going to get the slideshow. So you'll have it all.
Okay, I've demonstrated a lot of movement. I haven't had people do stuff. So now I have a whole list of examples of things. So a lot of these are different parts of the bodies or different types of exercises. I'm just going to show you quickly what all these things are: balance, legs, agility, ways to do cardio, different strategies for when you do exercises, how to maximize your you know, whatever exercise you're doing. But I'm just going to have this list up here to kind of prompt me, and we're going to start going through some stuff. So I'm going to show you some things that.
Mind if I take this down and make you big?
No problem.
Okay, cool. That way we can see you better.
All right. And I don't even necessarily need the presentation, because I know a lot of the things I wanted to go over that are good. I'll just go through a little of this, a little of that, some warm-up things, some stretching things. So I'm going to try to concentrate on some of the things that you could do just kind of like hanging out. Here's a nice stretch that's great for your hips. So what you do, no equipment needed on this, so everybody can join in, standing up. What you do is, if you try to stand pigeon toes, if you can. You know, people have dysfunction where their legs are out and they can't. But as much as you can, try to stand with your toes pointing in. You're going to put your hands on your hips. Now, this is a hip stretch. You're going to rotate at your hips as much as you can one way, and then rotate the other way. And you should feel the stretch in your hips. Now, I invented a way of doing these repetitive dynamic workouts. Is we're going to do a count of 6, but for each number of when I do the first one, we're going to hold for 1 second, right? And then go the other way and hold for 1. When we do 2, we're going to go hold 1, 2, hold 1, 2. And this is good for people like who have rigidity, because if you try to do one long hold stretch, you're just so stiff that you can't get past the sticking point. By doing this gradually, it's much better. You'll eventually be able to go into a bigger stretch. So let's go turn one way and say 1. And you're just going to try to go as much as you can for the count of 1. And then we're coming back and we're going to go 1, 2 and go a little further. And come back the other way, 1, 2. Make sure you're only moving at the hips. That's why your hands are on your hips, so you don't twist your torso. Come back, let's do 1, 2, 3, stretch it more. Feel the stretch in your hips. Back the other way, 1, 2, 3. Let's just do 4. Now we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, go more. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's something just standing up that you could do, stretch. I'm just gonna think of all the different categories. And I'm going to intersperse alternatively with equipment. So let me get to one of my favorite cardio things with using stuff around the house. And this is what I call battling blanket or towel. You could use a beach towel, but this could be incorporated into a cardio routine, but it's also good for your, just in general, your arm endurance and your core. So you're gonna have your hips, your feet about hip width apart or shoulder width apart, and try to get a nice sturdy base here. And try not to move your core too much, so that it'll make it more of a core exercise by trying to keep it tight. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna move, you fold the blanket or towel in any configuration that you want. You play with to see what kind of resistance you have. And you're just gonna move it in a figure 8 pattern. And then you can go fast. You do more sweeping motions. You do this for about 30 seconds to a minute, you'll get your heart rate. It's fun. You could add it to a lunge. You do a walking lunge while you're down. This is a great balance challenge because throwing you a little bit off balance. So that's the battling blanket, one of my favorites. This is one that I use in the morning. It kind of wakes up my nervous system. I just stumbled across this because I have a bottle about this size it's a gut health supplement, and it's liquid, and I have to shake it. And when I was shaking it once in the morning, I realized that to go back and forth here, I couldn't get this motion. It was a coordination thing. So then I started working on it. I did 20 shakes, and then I got up to where I did 5 sets of 20 shakes, which would be 100 reps, and now sometimes I do like 200. But basically all you're doing is just a liter bottle filled up 3/4 with water, and the sound of the water gives you feedback. So you're doing this repetitively. When I was having problems, and then you wouldn't hear the slosh sometimes. But now I could do it quick. And if I do this, like I said, like 100 times, I usually count to 20 and then repeat it. Counts of 20 like 5 times. When I'm done doing that, I feel, my heart's pumping, I'm getting all warmed up, but I also feel like my nervous system is lighting up a bit. Another exercise, and this is without equipment, is a bounce. So our friend, Dr. Perry Nicholson, does this. Well, a lot of people do it for their lymphatic system, which you have a bunch of lymph nodes through the body, and lymph flows through your body and helps clean out toxins. So bouncing like this, just bouncing, concentrating on really getting the movement going from your core. Your heels are coming off the ground a little bit, but you're just kind of shaking your body. This is great. Another great way to warm up and kind of lights up your your whole system invigorates you. But by bouncing, it helps your lymphatic system because it helps the lymph flow all the way through your system between the lymph nodes. So there's, and then there's like a lot of body weight exercises. You get to the strengthening, there's push-ups, and you could just do a standard push-up, or if you can't do that, you could use another I was talking about structures. One that I like that you can do a lot of different things off of is a countertop. Countertop's a nice height to do a modified push-up off a countertop. Let me actually jump over to, I have the document open separately. Here it is. This one, I have my list up separately.
Do you need the screen again?
No, it's okay. I'm looking at the list here.
Oh, great.
Just trying to think of what to do. So let's do another cardio thing. Again, no equipment needed. These are called arm sprints. Carl likes this. He always does it at the workshops. So basically,
I don't even know where I learned these, but I saw them somewhere. And I think it was with Ken Miller, NASM, first conference I went to in 2015. And he did a thing about exercise and no equipment, body weight stuff and cardio. And he crushed us. I was sore for days. No equipment. Yeah, I was sore for days. And now I start, do this with my people.
Okay, arm sprints. Basically, you're just gonna, you can get yourself actually in a lunge position. So I'm gonna show you one thing that gives you more bang for your buck is compound movements. So where you're doing movements with different body parts. So we're gonna use our arms and legs. So we're gonna do 20 arm sprints. I'm gonna count, and then you're gonna switch the forward leg. And if you wanna be, for the advanced people, what you can do is you jump. Oh, that was loud. So let's just go. You're going to stand like this in a split stance. And let's go for 20 and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And we're going to switch. 19, 20, switch. And then do the same thing. 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and switch. And then you continue. That gets your heart rate going again. So we've done a few cardio things.
I like that one. It's a great variation with the whole
agility. There's stepping over and across a line. So if you have something, you just put it down on the floor. If not, you step across a line. If you have a piece of tape that you want to put down, but you just step back and forth across the line. Again, this is cardio, but this is also coordination. And you could travel, and you could go sideways if you want. Traveling forward. And there's exercises you could do like lateral movements and forward movements that don't require any line to be drawn at all. You could do something called ice skaters, which is just going from side to side like this. You could do it in a hop, in more advanced, you could do it in a hopping motion. But if you want, you just step side to side and push off side to side gently. I just thought of something. I want to cover some seated exercises. So there's a lot of things you can do from a seated position. One good stretch is a piriformis stretch. Cross your legs. Reach down. Don't jut your head down. Just your whole upper body gently stretch it. Come back up. Back down. Same thing like I was teaching before, where you could do it for a longer count each time. And your goal is to eventually try to get all the way down so you could, touch your body to your knee if you can. So I had mentioned full body compound exercises. So let me show you a good one. It's called the Get Up. This is actually a partial get up. There's something called a Turkish Get Up, which you kind of go up into kind of like a side bridge position, and then you get up off the floor. This one is you're just bridging up. But I'm going to show you how to do it in a chair first. And this could be part of a cardio routine. So from the chair, which would be level one, you're going to stick one leg out straight and the other one's bent. Now your hand's here, and you're going to turn. You're pushing up off the bent leg, and you're turning and reaching up in the air. So now you're working your core. Your arm has to hold you up a little bit. You're using your arm, and you're using your glutes here too to push off. Come down, put the other leg out straight, push up. Come down, leg straight, push up. Now I'm going to do it from the floor.
I like that. I do these with you, Russ, but the COVID's got me so beat down, I'm not doing anything.
So this one's a little harder because you're going from the floor. Push up. And then you can switch quicker here and get your heart pumping. Straight. Leg straight, other one bent. That's just called a Get Up.
Nice.
And then just for grins, I'll show you more for the advanced. I know there's some advanced people out there. I saw some of the names. This is a similar type exercise, but it's called a kick through. It's almost like breakdancing. A little difficult, and I haven't been doing it that much, so I may not do it so great. Come up like this, switch. See, I had a problem with it, and let me try one more.
I love that one. I do that one a lot myself. It's animal flow exercises.
The other advantage of, well, I want to mention that doing single limb, alternating limb workouts are very good. You get good feedback from them because, like that exercise I was just doing there, you're alternating your limbs, so you kind of get an idea how your muscle balance is. When I was doing that kick through exercise, when I first started doing it, I noticed extreme difference between the two glute muscles. So
yeah,
it's good. It's good for that. Let me see.
That's an animal flow thing.
Yeah.
Which
There's something called animal flow, and that's all different body weight type exercises. Some of them are things you've heard of, like bear crawls, mountain climbers, that kind of stuff. And that one was one of them.
That and the scorpion.
Yeah, it's all different things.
You weren't with us, but Allison and Ruben and I taught this. Well, Allison taught it here in Syracuse, and then we also taught it in Denver. Allison was here, Ruben wasn't here. In Denver, Ruben was there, and we had talked with Mike Fitch, the creator of Animal Flow, to make sure it was cool to do. And he was like, yeah, sure, man. Animal Flow for Parkinson's. But seriously, it's really good. Even the entry-level stuff on it is tough. I mean, challenging. It's simple, but simple doesn't mean easy all the time.
Right. Let me see. Let me just show you a quick agility drill with a ball, tennis ball. So you can, step one, you can just drop it, look straight ahead, drop it, and then turn your head and catch it. catch it, okay? Here's the next level. Drop it, catch it, reach across, catch it with the other hand.
Nice.
Next one, I'm gonna drop it, reach across with this hand, touch my knee, and try to catch it. Good luck to me. Yes, and you can just make up all different ones, you know, things like that. Looking at the things I had you grab.
Russ,
Here's
I'm just
my-
typing a note here that if people have
My
questions,
cans.
we'll-
What's that?
I'm just typing a note here in the chat box. If anyone has questions, we're gonna do some Q&A here fairly soon.
Okay. I could even I actually have one HIIT workout. There's only a few exercises that I could maybe have you send to them. I could do a video of it. We could do that offline.
Sure.
But I think doing a whole workout, even one round of it, maybe was too much for this. But I was saying that you could do things with light weights. So a real good posturable exercise is called a cobra. And you could just use this amount of weight. You bend at the waist and you're pinching your shoulder blades back, pulling your chest out. And this is really good for posture. Make sure your shoulders are down. So get your shoulder blades back and down. And then just repeat. And you just do like 20 reps of this. And you don't even need weight, because when you come back, you're pinching your shoulder blades really hard. You're trying to pinch those shoulder blades together like you're squeezing a silver dollar there, and hold for a couple seconds. And even if you do this without weights, you'll feel it after about 20 reps.
Absolutely.
For other parts of your shoulder, you have different aspects of your shoulder musculature. You have the anterior and lateral. So this one is called YTA, and it gets all different parts of your shoulder girdle. So you're just going to go in a pattern, bend over again a little bit, no weights. Just put your hands up like a Y, and make sure each one of these, you pinch your shoulder blades way back really hard. Come down, a T pattern like this, pinch them back, and then just do that cobra again. That's the A that we did, where you're coming back like this. You can see how my hands are kind of out towards each wall and my thumbs are up. That's what you do. So you come up and you go Y, down again, T, bring your arms down, and A. Do that for 10 rounds, which is really like 30 total reps, and you'll feel a good burn in your shoulders. So those are great for posture. Let me show you another one of my favorite exercises again. This one is, I would call this one of my favorite exercises because it helps you with mobility, like ankle and hip mobility. It helps your core, and it strengthens your legs. And it's called a counterweight squat. Now you could use weights for your counterweight. It needs to be, can't be too light. So I think I'm going to show you how to use a chair. But this is the exercise. I'll just show it briefly with these weights, but then I'm going to show you how to do it with a chair. This is what the exercise looks like. You're squatting down as you're pulling against the resistance, and you're coming to about parallel, holding it and coming back up. And if you want, you could do a squat to cobra. So you get another exercise in there. And you can jut your head back. I'm going to show you how to use a chair though as a counterweight. What I like doing, and like I said, you could use this as a flexibility exercise, because as you go down, you're stretching your hips and your ankles, and the object of this exercise too is using the counterweight. See, it's pulling on you this way, so it allows you to sit back more. So you want to, when you do the squat, you want to be almost upright. So being upright is getting your weight back. So that forces you to use your glutes and your core to keep you up. And if you bring it down slow, you get some stretching too. So some people have difficulty with this exercise. And one of the cues I was thinking of for this that might be good that might be helpful is think of yourself as you're on a seesaw. So when I go down the seesaw, the other person goes up. So that's how your arms are going to go. As I'm going down with my butt, my arms are going up and then down the other, and then they come down and I go up. So think of that. This is one end of the seesaw where my hands are, and my butt is the other end. Now what I want to do with the chair, so I can just put my hand in the slats or hold on to the side, is as I'm coming down, I'm going to be pulling up using the chair as a counterweight so I could be more upright. And if the chair is not heavy enough, you could just throw something on it for weight. Something that has some weight to it. I have a kettlebell here. So we'll just do a few of these. And there's two ways to do this too. You could go down and hold for like 3 seconds, and each time you go down, and then do 10 of those, or you could actually hold it for 10 seconds and only do 3, and then you get more stretching out of it. So we're gonna go down for 3. I'm gonna pull up, go down. See how I'm staying almost upright? Now go down as much as is comfortable. Now I'm getting a little bit of stretching going on here, and I'm really tightening my core and my glutes, and then I come back up. If I'm doing a regular squat like this, I'll tend to lean forward more to compensate, and then my quads are taking over a little bit. I'm not using my core as much. So let's go down again for another one. Hold it. Try to stay upright, and you really feel that core tighten in the glutes. Pop back up. Now we're going to try one for 10. You could do like 10 of those with like 3-second hold, or you could come down and you could try to hold it. Keep pushing up for like 10 seconds and do 3 of those.
Good one.
That's one of my favorite exercises, because when you're using that counterweight, gives you the opportunity to engage your core, get your glutes working, all in a standing exercise.
Russ, so I don't want to cut you off, and I won't.
Yeah.
However, we're losing a few people. That's okay. That always happens. What I'm thinking is, I don't know if anyone saw in the chat box. If you have any questions, go for it. Type in the chat box, because I'd like to get some of that in before we end pretty soon. Just because
Okay.
we'll hit the 90-minute mark pretty.
And
soon.
maybe I'll, if you get the presentation back up, maybe I'll just go through just a few more tips that are there.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
Yeah, I will show
So
you.
people, ask away. If you have questions, I'll try to monitor the box. Okay.
Could have gone through more exercises, but there's so many on there.
Oh yeah. Let's see if I can get you in control here, and you should be able to move that yourself now.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's a list of exercises. Well, let me just go backwards for a second. Yeah, okay, I talked about that. Okay. I think there's just some strategies I had. A lot of things with cardio. You could do boxing. I didn't go through rhythmic movement, but what you could do with boxing is a lot of, popular rock songs and R&B songs are at 4/4 tempo. So you could do counts of 4 and 8. So you could do boxing combination. I like doing one with just straight ahead punches and then elbow strikes. So you go and you could just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with the boxing, and 4 elbow strikes, and you get some good rotation. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you do that to music. This weighted bag exchange I was talking about, weighing down a bag. This is a good cardio exercise. So you say you have a weighted bag. This is good for your grip, and you could add it into your cardio routine.
Mm-hmm.
You throw it over and catch. So if you have some weight in here, you have to grab onto it as it goes down, and that gets your cardio going.
That's really good.
I mentioned, to make time for relaxation and meditation. So there's a bunch of strategies here. First thing I say is try to think of yourself more in training than somebody who just does workouts, a set of exercise. Try to be mindful throughout the day of your movement. Compound exercises are helpful in single and alternating limbs, as I mentioned. You could put together little mini workouts. That you don't. It's not all or nothing. You don't have to do a big half-hour workout or 2-hour workout or whatever to get benefit. It could just be a few minutes on a few exercises. Like I said before, cardio is a different story. There's something called peripheral heart action. So this is another bang for the buck thing. That's basically just doing a strength circuit, alternating between upper and lower body parts. And what that allows you to do is normally you have to rest some between exercises when you're doing strengthening. But if you do a push-up and then you do a squat, you can do them right after one another, and your body's well rested enough to do each exercise. So you do a series of those alternating between upper and lower body, and you get strengthening and cardio in the same workout because you're doing the exercise one after another. It's enough to get your heart rate going. 20 rep workout. I'll just go through this. This is something that was invented by a bodybuilder. I don't know if anybody ever heard of this, but it's a good way to get in a quick workout, especially like if you're at the gym and you want to do a circuit, but then you're afraid to switch exercise machines so somebody will grab it. You're basically just going to do each exercise, you're going to do in one sitting, you're going to do 20 reps, and it's going to go like this. Let's say I'm doing a lat pull down. I'm going to put the weight at where I can max out at 10 reps. So now I've done 10 reps and the last one is hard. Then what you do is you do 10 more. You're going to do 20 and use rest periods. So you do your 10, rest for about 15 seconds. Then let's say you do 3. Then you rest, and you're always going to failure. Then you rest, and then you get 2 more in until you get up to 20 with failure. So now I've gone to failure like 3 or 4 times, and it's just in one sitting. And I could, this is for like, say, it doesn't have to be a machine workout. It could be any exercise, but you just do it. So the beginning of it is 10 reps. And when you've done that 10th, it's out of resistance where when you've done that 10th one, it's like you're at failure, and then you rest and you eventually get to 20. So it's a good way to get it in quick workout.
Let me give you this back.
So you want me to just wrap up on the concepts, Carl, or I don't know if we have much time for more exercise because we don't have that many people left. So
let's do concepts, and if there's any questions, and maybe
in
5 minutes or so, maybe we should wrap it up. Be done.
Yeah, feel free to contact me if you have questions about these exercises. I have a Facebook page that I'm going to try to be putting more videos out on, and Carl's always sharing lots of videos too. It's my Facebook page is called PD Fitness. And I haven't done a lot there yet, but I'm going to try to put more workouts there. So maybe I'll put some of that stuff here. So, oops, presentation went away.
Oops. Let's see if we can make this come back.
I just wanted to summarize and then. Okay.
See my slideshow now?
Yeah.
From current.
You just got to open it up. It's actually not in slide. Okay, now it's in slideshow. Just let me go backwards for a second. Am I still in share?
Oh, let me check to make sure, because each time I open it. Okay, you should have control now.
Okay. Okay. Then there's just something called micro loading, which is basically either using small amounts of increments, weight increments, or using rest periods. So you could do more every training session. So say you did 10 reps of something on one workout, and a couple of days later you want to target 11, but you're not feeling up to it, and you only get to 8. What you could do is there's nothing stopping you from resting, like I was just explaining with that 20 rep workout, resting a little bit and doing those 3 more reps. Now you got your 11 reps in. There might have been a little bit of a rest period, but you've still done more work for the day. So these are just strategies to get more bang for your buck. So now I guess I'll summarize. So.
I love it.
So regular exercise will help you move better and enhance your quality of life. To reap the benefits, it's not an all or nothing approach. So you don't need to do a huge workout to get a lot of benefits. If you can't get in your 30-minute or 2-hour workout, you still can get some productive work in a matter of even seconds or a few minutes. A lot of times I do little mini workouts before a meal, before breakfast or lunch, do some stretches. I do a little core workout or whatever. And these things just take a few minutes. You do some push-ups, whatever you choose. And actually I had one more exercise I just want to show you before we wrap up. And for the person new to exercise, these short exercise bouts will also help because it'll help you get more work in. But it'll help stimulate your appetite for more work. And what I meant to say, for the advanced people, it'll still help because you'll get more bang for your buck and you'll be able to get more work in. And for the beginners, it'll encourage you to do more work. I'm just going to show you. This is going to take 10 seconds. Because I like this one. I just call it around the chair, because there's another thing you could just do when you come down to the kitchen for breakfast or whatever. You just go, this gets a little bit of agility, a little bit of balance. You just circle around the chair. You can do it fast or try to take big steps. And you reverse direct, you do a little balance when you're over here. And when you get to the back of the chair, you reverse direction. So now I reverse. Now I'm going to try to do big steps to get around. So you can do big, small, fast. And then what you could do is you could put the chair close to the table and try to avoid hitting the chair or table. So it helps you, be aware of your surroundings and avoiding, bumping into things and falling. So that's it, Carl. I'm going to go and see if there's any questions. Did you want to say something?
Well, first of all, that's great stuff, man. Thank you very much, Russ.
My pleasure.
You can give Russ a round of applause. And I know we can't hear you all, but I still feel like I hear you all clapping. You've done such a great job in, that whole thing about changing your perspective and looking at things in a different light, like, well, I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Somebody else will do it for me. No, I think I'll do it because it's me getting better. That is I'm learning more and more and more from the research, actually, that's one of the key components in being successful. Attaching a reward to the effort and feeling that you're rewarding yourself, and you do that really well. I mean, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The night that I first ever met you in Manhattan, and I believe Allison was with me, and we were walking down the street to meet Brent Brookbush for dinner. I say this respectfully, you weren't moving nearly as well then as you are every time I've seen you. And you do stuff that you've improved in your movement and your gait and everything. And you're just a great example of, fighting back, taking control. I really appreciate that a lot. And so does everybody here. Everybody who ever meets you and knows you and learns from you appreciates it too.
Thanks, I appreciate that. And I appreciate a lot of other people who inspire me as well too. There's so many out there. Fantastic community, the fitness community and the Parkinson's community. It's just amazing. It's an amazing journey. And
it really is.
Yeah, and just and break the rules is another thing I would say too. Sometimes you use your imagination, you find something that works. I mean, one of the rules is they say you should always work out when your medication is in effect. But when I get up in the morning lately, it's one of my off periods where I don't feel too bad. So I started walking in the morning before my medication even takes effect, because I get up real early. I'm not ready to take my medication. And I've been doing mindful walking, and I'm actually walking pretty much normally now. I started this pretty much like end of December, beginning of January. And each time I'm increasing my distance and my form is getting better. It would be pretty cool if I get close to being able to walk as good in that morning walk as I can. Not even close yet, but as I can when I'm my medication. So, just think differently sometimes. I don't recommend people training in off state. When I go off my medication during the day, no way I would do that. I move horrible. But in the morning, I'm pretty good. So it's a good opportunity to have a little bit of body awareness and try something out.
Yeah, I think it's important to do what you feel is best for you and monitor yourself, listen to your body. Now, I'm just going to say in the book, my first book, I do talk about mindful walking, mindful movement, but it was not my idea. Just like most things aren't my idea. It actually came from a book called "The Brain's Way of Healing" by Dr. Norman Doidge, and he got it from John
John
Pepper
Pepper, yeah.
in South Africa, who I think, I could be wrong, has a new book out.
Yeah, I think he's been active lately. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he does have a new book out. Yeah, because somebody people were talking about that in a Facebook post recently. Yeah, he's
And the
amazing, and
staff
I'm
is
trying to do a John Pepper thing now with this stuff I'm doing in the morning. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
exactly. That's what made me think of it. So this is you're just focusing on movement. You're focusing on the arm swing, the other arm swing, the gait, gait symmetry, the velocity, the posture, the just all the components of gait, and you can consciously, mindfully. This may be all that you're thinking about while you're walking, but that's the whole idea of mindful movement. But that also goes back into retraining the brain a certain way. So we're back to the brain again and how it can create new neural pathways, new neural circuitry. So it outsources to other areas, pretty much the frontal area and even more so the cerebellum. And they develop as movement control centers to help you to move better. And the research is in. It's cited in my book. It's cited all over the place.
So I already came up with a couple of things with this mindful walking, a couple of
Mhm.
tricks. I had my gait was off and my left leg was killing me, and I found a way to distract me from that, and that worked. And then I lost my arm swing, and I got that back too.
See, yeah, and that's part of that thing is make one thing better, something else might get compromised, and then you keep on working at it until it's worked out to the best of your ability and always working on it. Yeah, this is always insightful, Russ. I think I'll probably close out here. Just want to thank you again, though. Thank you so much. When I sign off, I'm probably going to go right to bed, but I'll be in touch with you tomorrow because I have a couple
Okay.
of things I wanted to ask you. Thank you for being the guest tonight.
My pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me, and I hope everybody got some good information out of it, and keep
Yeah,
moving,
thank
folks.
you, everybody who was hanging in there till the very end. You'll get email with the link to this tomorrow and a copy of the slideshow and also dates, times of the next webinars, information about the current book, the new book coming out February 1st, and the workshop a week from this weekend. So it's 16th and 17th. And I would highly encourage that. That's a meeting format. That's not a webinar format. We are interactive in that workshop. So we'll all see each other. We'll all be, once I unmute often, we all get to chime in. We all get to do stuff. And that's it, folks. I'm going to head out. Have a great night. Thank you, Russ. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks all. Good night,
You got it.
everyone.
See you all later. Bye bye.
Adios.